Okay, so this is the most general form, Euler's equation, del square phi plus k square phi equal to g, and the functional we have derived was I as a function of phi is half double integration del phi square minus k square phi square plus 2 phi g ds. And what is the Euler equation? Poisson's equation we are considering now is del square b equal to minus rho b by epsilon. So I want to compare this term and find out what is the functional for this Poisson's equation. So first thing is I transfer all this term to the right hand side, and I can rewrite this equation as minus epsilon del square b minus rho b equal to 0. So one major thing difference I'm observing is this is negative, but this is positive here. So that's why 2 phi g here would become minus 2 rho b e v e here. And anyway, you have epsilon here, so epsilon del gradient of VE whole square. This is how we find the functional for this Poisson's equations. So once we have this Poisson's equation, we try to express this in the matrix form so that we can use linear algebra to solve it. So we can find out what is the matrix form of this functional. What do we have here? Gradient of B, and BE is we have just found out B is what? B is summation I going from 1 to 3 BEI alpha I. So BEI are the voltage at the node 1 and 2 and 3, but alpha I is dependent on X and Y. So gradient will operate on the alpha I. So this term will give me something like this term inside the third bracket. Gradient of alpha I dot product with gradient of alpha j. And similarly, this term here rho b, rho b, we express this of the form summation I going from 1 to 3 rho e I alpha I. So this term will actually give me, you have b also here, rho b is also here. B is this, rho b is this. You are multiplying b and rho b. So this integration terms will give me something like this in the third bracket, alpha I, alpha j. You do integration over ds. So finally, you have the matrix form. So we need to find out this term and this term. We have already found out this term, connection matrix. This is also part of the connection matrix now. And because of this, Poisson's equation has something in the right hand side in the equation. You'll have one Cij would be integration gradient of alpha I dot product with gradient of alpha j ds. Tij would be simply integration of alpha I alpha j ds. So you can find it out. You have the expression for alpha I alpha j. These are the shape functions. Then from there you can find out what is T matrix. T matrix, we have already found out what is C matrix. We can also find out what is T matrix. So T matrix, you can do it simple integration here. It turns out to be A by 12 when I is not equal to J. So this for the off diagonal terms. For diagonal term, it turns out to be A by 6 when I is equal to J. So finally, this is the expression you have for the functional. The expression we have considered here is for one single element. Then you can actually get it for the whole solution space. In that case, functional B would be summation E going from 1 to capital N. Let's say we have n triangular elements. In that case, we have to find out the functional for every triangular element and sum them up. Then you get the total function. And summation E going from 1 to N F in this matrix form here, half epsilon B transpose C B minus B transpose P rho. And this was actually we have done for the Laplace equation, but for Poisson's equation, we have this extra term here. Okay, so you want to solve this. There are two methods. One is iteration method and another is Venn matrix method. In the iteration matrix, you actually differentiate this with respect to the unknown three nodes. Del F by del B K, K go from 1 to 2. This would be small n here. Okay, there are two variables. One is capital N. Capital L is the number of elements. Small l is the number of nodes. So number of nodes is 1, 2 up to capital small n, and number of elements is 1, 2 up to capital N. So you differentiate it and equate to 0, then you can minimize the energy, then you can find out the solution. So when you do that, let's say you consider a 5-node case. In the 5-node case, you'll have C11, C21 up to C51. So you differentiate it. Again, here also you'll have T11 row 1, row 2, T21 plus T51 row 5. We have considered one simple example for 5-node case. In the 5-node case, you'll have B1, B2 up to B5. Row will have row 1, row 2 up to row 5. For that, you can actually find out this matrix for the 5-node case. When you differentiate it, what you're getting is something like this. So from there, you can generalize it for any free node case. Any free node case, this is for the node number 1, B1, and 5-node case. You can actually do it for any number of nodes. So in the general form, for a free node k, bk would be minus 1 by c, k summation I going from 1 to n, j not equal to k, bi, c, ki. You will have one extra term here in comparison to the Laplace equation because of the rho b in the right hand side of the Laplace equation, 1 by epsilon c, k, ki going from 1 to capital N, rho I, t, ki. And the functional expression, you can also do it from the band matrix method. In the band matrix method, if you remember correctly, you actually number the free nodes first and the prescribed nodes later on. That's why you divide the B matrix into two parts. One is BF, another is BP. Similarly, even rho F and rho P for the row matrix also. And this is what you have here. You differentiate this with respect to BF, which is the free node voltage. We are not interested in finding BP. BP is already prescribed. So, and equate it to 0, then the final expression would be of this form here. Previously, we just have this term here because of that rho B in the Laplace Poisson's equation. We will have this extra term here. So finally, this expression would be, you just transfer this term to the right hand side, this term to the right hand side, then this term would become CFF BF is equal to minus CFP BP. This is what we have for the Laplace equation. But for the Poisson's equation, you have this extra term here, 1 by epsilon TFF rho F plus TFP rho P. And anyway, you can express this in the form like A V is equal to B. Only this B is going to change. B is going to be the whole term here. A would be this term here. So A is CFF, B is BF, then B would be this whole term here. So that's how you can find out. You can find out the Poisson's equation by using the iteration method as well as band matrix method. And we have one more, which is basically the inhomogeneous scalar wave equation. This is the most general one. Inhomogeneous wave equation, del square phi plus k square phi is equal to g. Laplace equation is when k is equal to 0, g is equal to 0. So k is 0, g is 0, you have Laplace equations. K is 0, this is what we have discussed today. K is equal to 0 is equal to g, Laplace equation is the first example we have discussed. We also want to discuss about Helmholtz wave equation. So let us consider the most general form of this PD, del square phi plus k square phi is equal to g. If phi is a field quantity, for example, if you consider waveguide problem, then in the waveguide analysis for T mode and TM modes, what you do is basically in the waveguide analysis, if you remember it, you don't have to find all the fields inside the waveguide. You just need to find the longitudinal components of the fields. From the longitudinal components of the field, using Maxwell equation, you can find all the transversal component of the fields. So for the T case, transverse electric field doesn't have any longitudinal component. Everything is perpendicular to the direction of propagation. If your direction of propagation is along the z-axis, electric field will not have any z component. So the only longitudinal component for T case is Hz. So the wave equation will be satisfied for Hz. To solve the Hz, you can find for TM mode, transverse magnetic field is perpendicular to the direction of wave propagation. If you assume wave propagation is along the z-axis, then magnetic field will not have any z component. Electric field will have z component. So you solve the wave equation for electric field Ez. From there, you can find all the remaining fields by using the Maxwell equation. So it's very convenient to analyze it from the longitudinal fields wave equation. Just solve it, then you can find out all the remaining fields. And G here is the source function. This is the forcing function. And K here is the wave number. K is usually expressed as omega square root of mu epsilon. So let us try to solve it for this Helmholtz wave equation. And we have already constructed the functional for this most general form of PDE. It was functional was of the form half double integration del phi square minus k square phi square plus 2 phi g ds. Here you can express phi and g just like last time, phi and g of the forms phi e is summation I going from 1 to 3 alpha I phi e I. Phi e1, phi e2, phi e3 are the node potentials, alpha I are the shape function. GE here is basically the forcing function, is summation I going from 1 to 3 alpha I GEI. GE1, GE2, GE3 are the value of the forcing function at node 1, 2, and 3. They are actually given most of the time, like Poisson's equation we discussed today. Okay, so we want to express this functional in the matrix form. That can be done like this. Functional, the previous functional, this is the most general functional you have here. So you can express as half double summation I j going from 1 to 3 phi ei phi j, then integration del alpha I del alpha j ds. This looks like your connection matrix. Then minus k square by 2 example, because we don't have k was 0 in previous example when you have Poisson's equation, but here we have k, and summation I g j integration alpha I alpha z ds. So this is your T matrix. This will give you T matrix, this will give you C matrix. So final expression for the functional I phi e would be having three terms. First term was when you have Laplace equation. Second term was also there. Third term was also there in the Poisson's equation we have considered. In this case, we have this second term also because k is no longer 0. Here we are considering one single element, triangular element. So phi e will have phi e1, phi e2, phi e3. Triangular element will have only three nodes. G will have G1, G2, G3 for the three nodes. Then we can actually find it out for the whole solution space. In that case, E will be going from 1 to capital N. So here the notation has been reversed, it seems. So let's say if we have n triangular elements in the whole solution space, then element 1, 2 up to element n, you find out what is the functional, all of them you sum up, then you can write this in the matrix form here. You'll have three terms for second and third term, where phi matrix, phi vector will have phi 1, phi 2 up to phi n if you have n nodes here. G will have G1, G2 up to Gn. This is for the global system. First one is when we consider one single triangular element. So here we consider for the whole solution space. In that case, we'll have phi 1, phi 2 up to phi n, G1, G2 up to Gn. So here C, T are global matrices of the local matrix. Once you have the local matrix, you can find out the global matrix. And you consider the case when the right hand side is 0, G is 0, forcing function is 0, then we have the Helmholtz wave equation. That means that's a wave equation you want to solve. And you consider the band matrix method solution to solve this, then free nodes are numbered first and prescribed numbers are numbered last. So in that case, this functional will have, see, G is 0, so this term will be 0, third term will be 0. It will have this first term and second term only. And the functional can be expressed now in this form, half phi f phi p. This is the pre-node potential. Phi p is the prescribed node potential. You have quotient matrix CFF, CFP, CPF, CPP. Phi f phi p minus k squared by 2. Wave number is no longer 0 here. This is the wave equation we are considering. So then phi f phi p, TFF, TFP, TPF, TPP, phi f phi p. So this is the functional here. So what is the next step? You differentiate it with respect to the free node potential, unknown potential, del I by del phi f is equal to 0. Then this is the equation you are getting. This equation, let's say you consider TM modes. You want to solve TM modes inside a conducting waveguide. So what is the TM modes? Waves which are propagating inside the waveguide, you want to solve it. For the TM modes, what was phi p? Phi p for the conducting one. So TM modes, what do you mean by TM mode? TM mode means magnetic field is transversal to the wave propagation. So that means if you consider wave propagation along the z-axis, magnetic field will not have any component along the z-axis. So the wave equation we have to solve is for the electric field longitudinal component Ez. So Ez, if you consider Ez component is the wave equation we are trying to solve now. In that case, Ez on the surface of the metal waveguide, Ez is tangential to the metal waveguide. So if you consider a metal waveguide, Ez is always tangential to the metal waveguide. Ez is the direction along which wave is propagating, and Ez is tangential to the metal waveguide, metallic waveguides. So tensile component of the electric field on a metallic structure is always zero, so phi p will be zero. So this prescribed value of the voltage phi p will be zero. Here it's not voltage, it's a wave Ez. When you consider TM modes, Ez is what we are trying to solve. So Ez should be equal to zero on the surface of the waveguide, perfectly conducting waveguide. So phi p or Ez is zero now. In that case, you can solve this equation. It turns out to be CFF minus K square TFF phi f is equal to 0. If I multiply by inverse of TFF, so TFF inverse CFF minus K square I phi f is equal to 0. Finally, what I'm getting is A minus lambda I x is equal to 0. So this is very familiar to us. This looks like eigenvalue problem, where A is the TFF inverse CFF, lambda is K square, x is equal to phi f. So this is eigenvalue problem. This eigenvalue problem, from the eigenvalue problem, you can find out what are the modes which are propagating inside the waveguide. So one of the technique for using FEM is in finding out eigenvalue problems, and this is very useful. So there are many techniques in the FEM. One is eigenvalue problem. This is what we have considered today. I think I should stop here.